And just like that, another DCI season is in the books. It's been an incredible journey, packed with unforgettable moments, fierce competition, and of course the jaw-dropping performances that we've come to expect the marching arts to deliver. First of all, a huge congratulations to the Bluecoats for taking home the gold. They had innovative show design with near flawless execution, and they really set the standard. A big shout out to the Boston Crusaders and Blue Devils for their incredible performances. They earned those spots on the podium for sure. They've both pushed the boundaries of what's possible, and they were both amazing to witness. And of course, let's not forget about the other corps who gave it their all this season. So much dedication and passion was on display, as always is every year. Special mention, of course, to the Scouts for making finals this year. It's been quite a while since that happened, almost a decade, so the return to the final stage for Madison was pretty inspiring. And of course, to every performer, staff member, volunteer, everyone who contributed this season, thank you so much for your hard work and your commitment to excellence. You made 2024 a season to remember. That being said, this is a competitive activity. There are judges, and you gotta rank these shows somehow. So I figure I give my 2 cents in the whole thing and give you my top 10 shows for the season. This is a combination of what I enjoyed the most and also who I think deserved to place well. It's sort of a combination of both. This isn't necessarily, I think the corps should have placed in this order. I think the judges mostly get that right. There's a few places I disagree, but for the most part, these judges are trained very well. They are extraordinarily knowledgeable. Sometimes they do things that can seem goofy, but again, they're trained professionals and I am not. So take all this with a grain of salt. It's just fun. For the most part, I know at least one person in every single one of these corps that marched this year, so it's definitely not personal. It's just my rankings of how much I enjoyed these shows. Alright, Spirit of Atlanta. I am biased. I did march here. I would put them in the top 5, but I am trying to be unbiased, so I've moved them down. Again, this isn't just how much I enjoyed a show or where I think they should have actually placed. It's sort of a combination of the two, so this is my middle ground. Creatures was a great show. I thought it was something special. The guard in the opener, or pretty much anytime there's any heavy dance moments, they really caught my eye with their performance aspects. I thought it was very great. The percussion section, of course, was on fire, way more aggressive than they have been in some of the previous years. A fantastic battery. Shout out to the front ensemble too. The brass line performed the hell out of a great Michael Martin book. They had that power and precision you expect from a horn line that's taught by Freddie Martin, and they definitely left a lasting impression. Spirit of Atlanta once again proved they're a force to be reckoned with. I know that they actually technically got a placement lower than the previous year, but you can't really compare across year to year. I think this corps definitely took a step in the right direction. There's some things that have to be figured out, of course, but coming off of not fielding a corps to going to a production like this is absolutely incredible, and everyone that was involved should be so proud. Alright, this next one is absolutely a hot take, and I want to preface that before we even go into that. You're gonna want to click off the video. Just hear me out, okay? There will be a few hot takes this video. This is probably the biggest one, so hold on to your butts. Alright, Phantom Regiment. This one's a doozy. Mind was a very good show. The brass line is super powerful, and when I think Phantom Regiment, I think power from that brass line. So they really brought that. Very powerful, very rich, so major props there. I'm always a sucker for bent leg. That's what I originally marched when I first started marching band, so I kind of have a bias towards it, and they pulled it off. It's always nice to have that distinct visual element. The show had a high level of performance quality. Again, 4th place, deserved it, earned it. It wasn't the cleanest thing I've ever seen. There were some moments of execution, especially the really technically demanding parts, where it just wasn't 100% clean, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. They also didn't play on the move as much as some other groups in that sort of tier. They were stationary a lot. However, the jazz section with the soloists, that was a real highlight of the year. It was super fun. It feels different from the rest of the show. They play like Moonlight Sonata and crap, which I expect Phantom every year to play some very basic classical piece like that, which I'm all for. Identity. I love when cores do similar things every year, because I think that's how it should be. Cores should have some identity to them. But this, bringing in something different, they have played like this, something like this in previous years, so that's not my point. Compared to the rest of the program, it was sort of an unexpected twist that I think brought a lot of life into the performance. And despite all these things, Phantom delivered a very memorable, very engaging show that just hits different in person. I just happen to like a few other shows more than them. A lot of that has to do with the fact that I don't really understand the show. I know that's kind of true with a lot of DCI shows. I don't understand if this is a concept show or a story show or somewhere in between. I just don't understand the show, and maybe that's just on me. Maybe I'm an idiot. That's fine. You can clown on me in the comments if you want. Alright, coming in at 8th, we have the Santa Clara Vanguard, and they made an awesome return to the field in 2024 with their show Vagabond. The brass line was incredible. What you have come to expect from Vanguard. It's definitely a different sound from having a new caption head since 2020, but it is a great sound. And especially after taking a whole season off, this show really pops. The guard was absolutely stunning. The flags in the closer, I mean, I had already seen that show like 5 times coming into seeing it live, and I knew it was coming, but wow, those flags just pop in that closer, especially in person, and it really caught my eye. It's a very striking visual moment. And of course, a big shout out to the percussion section. They won the Fred Sanford Award. They, of course, as Vanguard always is, Vanguard percussion, they're just on another level. They came back strong, and they reminded everyone why they were previously a powerhouse in the drum corps world, and I expect them to be on the up and up. The Colts made a bold statement with their 2024 show On Fields. I love the uniform design, especially the legs. The way they used those 2 different colors really stood out, especially in person, and it just adds that extra layer of impact to the drill. Speaking of drill, these guys moved a lot, and they played while they were moving, which is something I always appreciate. The percussion section was fantastic as always. They were tight, and they really drove the whole show and brought a lot of energy. I love, again, how they play and move, the whole core. Especially shout out to that trumpet screamer. He's an absolute beast. He holds out that double G for like forever, and he absolutely nailed it on finals. The Colts were super energetic, super memorable, and I absolutely love this show.
The Mandarins!
Alright, the Mandarins. I kind of feel bad putting them this low, but this is just how things shook out. They brought the vibrant spirit of New Orleans to life with their 2024 show, which I won't even bother trying to pronounce. The show was a fun tribute to New Orleans. It captured that sort of lively energy you'd expect from something like Mardi Gras, but they also were able to delve into some more darker, mysterious moments that added a lot of depth to everything. The brass book arranging was top notch, especially me not having really enjoyed many previous Mandarin show. This was a perfect balance between upbeat jazz and more intense dramatic sections, and I have to shout out the piccolo trumpet soloist. He was absolutely nails, playing those clarinet parts on that instrument. Piccolo trumpet is super hard, and he clearly knows what he was doing. Anyways, the Mandarins delivered a awesome show, and it really stood out to me, and competition's just starting to get tight, so they just happened to end up in 6th. Holy cow, Blue Stars Brass. They were absolutely crazy. They are basically running this whole show, and they sound great. Universal, it wasn't my favorite theme in the world, didn't quite resonate with me, but come on, that performance level was undeniably off the charts. They were easily one of the most talented corps of the year. Battery, guard, all the way through, all the levels, front ensemble, it was great. Even if it wasn't flawless, the performance quality was absolutely top tier. The sheer skill and energy that was on the field, especially when I saw them live, was super impressive. Definitely one of the most memorable performances of the year. The show is absolutely slept on. Carolina Crown's 2024 show, Promethean, showcased their signature brass line. Anyone who says they've fallen off or anything is just wrong. They still have an unmatched clarity to them. They sound different than anyone else. They really are set apart in the brass world. However, I really just wasn't a huge fan of the musical selections. This is a problem I had last year, have it this year. I love Fraternity, it's a piece I love, but the arrangement of both sections just didn't really work for me. There's no denying that Crown plays and moves so well, but from a design standpoint, the overall product just felt like a smidge lower than what you'd expect from a corps that's trying to win a championship. And despite this awesome performance quality, the show didn't have that quite championship caliber impact that they wanted to have in their design. I mean, I don't know who I am to question these designers. They're obviously at the top of their game. I'm not saying I could do better, but it just wasn't there and didn't quite resonate with me. But again, they got 4th. I still love the show. It's great. Everyone involved should be proud. It is an excellent show. Alright, here we go. Another hot take. The Bluecoats 2024 show changes everything, was nothing short of spectacular. They solidified their place at the top in a season where the top 3 corps, in my opinion, were virtually interchangeable and in a class of their own. I'm okay with the point gap between 1st and 2nd and 3rd. I think they were that much more proficient. The brass line was outstanding. They won the Odd Award. They just sounded great. The visual excellence was equally remarkable. They won the visual caption, and they also earned that 20 in visual analysis, which when I saw in the recap, I couldn't really be upset about. I mean, with a show that was this innovative, this flawlessly executed, they undeniably deserve the gold this year. There's just some aspects about these other two shows that we'll get to that I just like better from a personal standpoint. Deserve the win, just not my favorite show of the year, and that's fine, and I still loved it. The Boston Crusaders 2024 show Glitch was super unique and super fun. The show featured an incredibly high visual demand, and it was remarkable the level of simultaneous playing and moving demand that they had. The brass arrangements were the absolute best I've ever heard from the core. They blended that complexity of that top tier drum core with super hard technical moments with musicality in a way that actually stood out that some other cores in this top tier haven't figured out. The guard was of course phenomenal, earning that well-deserved caption award for their stunning performance, especially the weapons. Of course, that's what they're kind of known for. Glitch was really well designed. It was really executed. I didn't love everything about it from a design standpoint, but there were enough fun, super fun moments that just stood out, and they deserve that second spot. And Boston should be proud for putting on the best performance in core history. And of course, the Blue Devils delivered yet another powerhouse performance with their 2024 show, The Romantics. The brass was outstanding, playing with that immense power and that high brass zip that only the Blue Devils can deliver. And as always, their performance quality was off the charts. You know, if getting a 97 and placing third is considered a fall off, that only highlights the level of excellence that the Blue Devils consistently operate on. The show featured incredible musical variety and visual variety, as they always do. It's super engaging all the way from start to finish. Special shout outs to the dance line for their awesome work, and to the high brass and percussion feature, which was hands down my favorite moment of the season. The Blue Devils once again proved why they are in a league of their own, regardless of their placement, which I don't disagree with, but they'll be right back in it. We all know it. And this was again one of their signature productions, and maybe honestly the best third place show ever. It was that incredible. Alright, well, that pretty much wraps everything up. Again, congrats to all the performing members, staff, volunteers, everybody on making this year possible and making it a very successful season for DCI. Look forward to next year, and I'll see you guys on the next one.